What if everything you've been told about how women fall in love is wrong? What if love isn't really about looks, or money, or even grand romantic gestures? Science has discovered something surprising. Researchers have spent decades studying attraction, relationships, and the female brain, and what they found challenges many of the myths people believe about love. Because women don't usually fall in love in a single moment. It's often a process, a series of emotional triggers, psychological connections, and biological reactions happening beneath the surface. In fact, a woman can meet two men who are equally attractive but develop deep feelings for only one. Why? What makes one person unforgettable while another is quickly forgotten? Today, we're diving into the fascinating psychology and neuroscience behind how women fall in love. And some of these discoveries may completely change the way you think about relationships. Stay until the end, because the final factor is something almost nobody talks about. Yet, science suggests it's one of the strongest predictors of lasting love. Love feels magical, but behind that magic, there is psychology. There are chemicals firing in the brain. There are unconscious decisions being made. There are emotional needs being evaluated. And while every woman is unique, researchers have found common patterns that help explain why romantic feelings develop. Let's explore what science reveals. One of the biggest misconceptions about attraction is that confidence alone makes someone attractive. Confidence matters, but according to relationship psychologists, emotional safety matters even more when deeper feelings begin to develop. Emotional safety means a woman feels she can be herself without fear of judgment, rejection, or ridicule. When someone listens carefully, respects boundaries, and responds with understanding rather than criticism, the brain begins to associate that person with comfort and security. Psychologists often describe this as creating a safe emotional environment. And here's something fascinating. The brain is constantly scanning for threats. When someone feels emotionally safe, stress levels decrease, trust increases, and trust is one of the foundations upon which romantic love is built. Because it's difficult to fall deeply in love with someone who makes you feel anxious, unsafe, or emotionally guarded. Have you ever met someone who seemed to understand you without much explanation? Science suggests this feeling can be incredibly powerful. Researchers have found that feeling understood creates emotional intimacy. And emotional intimacy is often one of the strongest pathways to romantic attachment. When a woman feels that someone genuinely sees her thoughts, her fears, her dreams, and accepts them, a deeper bond begins to form. This is why meaningful conversations often create stronger attraction than surface-level interactions. People don't just fall in love with how someone looks. They fall in love with how someone makes them feel about themselves. Being understood creates a sense of connection that many people spend years searching for. Now let's talk about what happens inside the brain. When romantic attraction begins, several powerful chemicals are released. The first is dopamine. Dopamine is often called the brain's reward chemical. It's associated with excitement, anticipation, and pleasure. That's why thinking about someone you like can feel almost addictive. Then comes oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is linked to trust, emotional closeness, and attachment. It helps strengthen social bonds and deepen feelings of connection. Another important chemical is serotonin. Changes in serotonin activity are one reason why people in love often think about someone constantly. Ever wondered why new love can consume your thoughts? Your brain chemistry is playing a role. Love isn't just an emotion. It's also a biological experience. Many people believe attraction grows when they appear perfect. But psychology suggests the opposite. One of the most powerful ways emotional bonds develop is through vulnerability. Vulnerability means allowing another person to see your real self, your fears, your struggles, your imperfections. When someone shares authentically, it often encourages the other person to do the same. Researchers call this reciprocal self-disclosure, and it's one of the fastest ways emotional intimacy can grow. Because genuine connection isn't built through perfection. It's built through authenticity. People connect most deeply when they feel they know the person behind the mask. Here's something many people overlook. Intensity can create attraction, but consistency builds love. A grand romantic gesture may create excitement, but what often creates lasting feelings is reliability. Showing up when you say you will, keeping promises, being emotionally available, being predictable in a healthy way. Why? Because the brain learns through patterns. When someone consistently demonstrates care and trustworthiness, the brain begins to view them as dependable, and dependability creates emotional security. Research repeatedly shows that stable, supportive behavior is one of the strongest predictors of relationship satisfaction. Love grows where trust can survive. Movies often tell us that opposites attract. Reality is more complicated. Research consistently finds that similarity plays a major role in long-term attraction. Shared values, shared goals, shared beliefs about life. These similarities create a sense of understanding and compatibility. It's easier to build a future together when both people are moving in a similar direction. Physical attraction may spark interest, but shared values often determine whether feelings continue to grow. The strongest relationships usually involve more than chemistry. They involve alignment. Remember the factor I mentioned earlier? The one that many people rarely talk about? It's emotional responsiveness. In psychology, emotional responsiveness means noticing and responding to another person's emotional needs. For example, when someone is excited, do you celebrate with them? When they're stressed, do you support them? When they're vulnerable, do you listen? Research suggests that feeling emotionally supported creates some of the strongest bonds between people. Because love isn't only about being attracted to someone. It's about feeling that they genuinely care about your inner world. Many experts believe emotional responsiveness is one of the strongest foundations of lasting relationships. And perhaps that's why some people become unforgettable. Not because they were perfect, but because they made another person feel deeply seen, valued, and understood. So what does science reveal about how women fall in love? It tells us that love is rarely about a single trait. It's not just appearance. It's not just status. And it's not just chemistry. Love often grows through emotional safety, trust, understanding, vulnerability, consistency, shared values, and emotional connection. Because beneath all the complexity of the human brain, one truth remains surprisingly simple. People fall deepest in love with those who make them feel safe enough to be themselves. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, what do you think is the most important factor in falling in love? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.